Welcome to the Allagash Waterway 50th Anniversary Party. This is August 20th, 2016, and here we are, the town of Allagash. Beautiful sunny day. A lot of festivities lined up today. It's actually, the festivities are held right in back of the old Allagash, or the former Allagash High School. It's now been reconverted into a community center with a library, the municipal center, and the town office. Part of the celebration was held at Churchill Dam earlier in July, but today all the activities are here in the town of Allagash. And here we are in back of the community center where all of the events are being held. The sign says it all. Welcome to Allagash. The Allagash Waterway celebrates 50 years.
You must be drying out getting stiff now.
I guess so. Wake us all up anyway.
There are all kinds of booths, demonstrations, and things going on in back of the school.
Oh, okay. Did you want your sponsor? Do you want to wear your
This is a big celebration for the town. And here we are outside one of the main tents on this Allagash 50th anniversary, the Allagash Wilderness Waterway. Here we have lumber companies, we have Maine Warden Service, Maine Forest Service are all here with their displays. And are here to answer any kind of questions that the public might have about their company and about the Allagash Wilderness Waterway. On this side of the tent, you've got land desks. These are forest management companies that are here in this area and along the Allagash Wilderness Waterway. First one of the major lumbering companies in northern Maine is the Irving Corporation. A land management, a land growing company, timber harvesting, and also lumber. And here we are at the Allagash Wilderness Waterway booth. And here with us to tell us a little about the Allagash Wilderness Waterway is
Bob McIntosh.
Bob McIntosh. And you're from where, Bob?
I live in Beverly, Massachusetts.
In Beverly, Massachusetts. All the way to northern Maine.
All the way to northern Maine.
Is this because of the foundation, or is it?
Yeah, I'm a member of the board of the foundation, so it brings me up.
Can you tell me a little about the waterway itself?
Well, back in the 60s, there was an interest in preserving the wilderness qualities of the Allagash River. And there was talk about making it a national park. There was talk about having the state do it and so on. And there was Senator Muskie and Governor Curtis at the time made this arrangement that the Allagash Wilderness Waterway is a state-administered river in the National Wild and Scenic River System. So it has federal recognition, but it's
part of the Maine. It's administered by Maine.
By Maine through the Bureau of Parks and Lands.
So this was established in 1966?
1966. This is the 50th year. Correct.
Now, how is the area managed now? Is it still the same goals that were originally founded?
Principally, yes. Yeah, it's administered by the State Parks System of Maine as its own designation. There's a wilderness waterway, and there are campsites and portages that are maintained by the state, and it's more or less the way it was back in the 60s.
In this 1960s. Now the Allagash Waterway. I mean, we're here in the town of Allagash, but what's the actual confines, I guess, of it? Where does it start and where does it end?
Well, it starts either at Telos, here on the map down here, or at Allagash Lake, depending on how you want to approach it. And it runs from Telos to the town of Allagash. It's about 90 miles.
90 miles. And is it rivers and lakes? Is that it?
Right. You can see at the southern end, which is the upstream end, it's mostly lakes that artificially created by dams, and then after you get to Churchill, it's basically a free-flowing river all the way down to its confluence with the St. John.
Now, who uses the Allagash Wilderness Waterway now?
People from all over the world.
They do.
Probably the greatest proportion of use is summer camps, and in the fall, the preschool college trips will be on the river, but there are folks from Europe particularly that come over and experience the Allagash, and then folks from all over the United States, particularly the Northeast. There are many families who, for generations, have come up and canoed or fished the Allagash.
What's the main activities? I mean, there are a lot of people coming in to visit. Are they just looking for the natural beauty, or the canoeing, or?
Well, everybody finds their own purpose.
Their own purpose.
It's canoeing or kayaking. It's fishing. I was just talking to a couple who came down a 5-day trip from Churchill, and they flew some eagles. So it's if you like nature, it's one of the better places to be.
It's a good wilderness experience, as it was in the 1960s.
And what's fascinating is that the industrial history of the Allagash is still to be found in the woods, but the intensity of cutting right along the river and the use of the river to float logs is clearly a thing of the past. So,
do they allow any logging along the waterway?
well, the state owns a quarter mile on each side.
Oh, really? Both sides of the river?
Right. You can see that yellow ribbon, green ribbon that follows the river. And then there's a restricted zone where logging is permitted, but it's under special permit that's issued by the state. Basically an attempt to keep the vista from the river as a natural setting.
Yes.
And there are bridges that were built, have been built in the past by the logging companies to transport timber across the river and so on. But it's, by and large, it's a very powerful, wonderful wilderness experience.
Now, this is the 50th anniversary. What are we in for in the next 50 years?
Hopefully more of the same.
More of the same. Exactly.
More of the same. But, climate change and other issues are water temperature rise could affect the fisheries. The nature of the forest could change over a long period of time.
Sure.
But I think for your and my lifetime, it's going to be the same.
Well, I'm sure there's a natural evolution of the forest and the waterway, and it will always be.
Right.
But it's going to be an evolution by itself and not man-made.
Not man-made. That's correct.
Bob, I have to thank you. I thank you for all that you do, I guess, for all of us, because this is not just, for the foundation. This is for the people in Maine and
For the people in the world.
in the world. And so thank you.
We have a new initiative. We just received a grant. Our goal is to get every middle school child who wants to have an experience on the river sometime while they're in middle school.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a pilot project here in the valley for kids in the valley this September, in that week where the kids are off for the harvest. So we're out recruiting now to get kids to do that. We've participated in helping with some land acquisition within the state corridor, and we also have financed a survey of all the campgrounds on the waterway to do a condition assessment, which we then gave to the state, and that's helped them present priorities for the work they need to do to maintain the campgrounds in good shape.
Well, this is very good. I mean, certainly the idea of getting the youth, I guess, involved in the waterway and in our own preservation of land and forests is extremely important, and I'm glad the Waterway, the foundation, is doing this.
Yeah, we hope to give them the experience. It's a life skill, and it teaches leadership qualities.
Yes, it does. Well, thank you again. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And here we are next to a nice canoe. This is really, well, first of all, could I have your name?
Roland Thurlow.
And mine? Where are you from?
Dover Foxcroft, a little town of Atkinson, just outside of Dover Foxcroft.
And is this the canoe? Is this the canoe that you bought or built?
No, this canoe I build. I build canoes. The Northwoods Canoe Company is the name of my company. So I've been doing that for a little over 35 years now. And this is one of my designs. We call it the Atkinson Travel.
The Atkinson Travel.
17.5 wilderness tripping canoe. It's kind of designed, the basic design came from the old E.M. White designs. E.M. White was a famous builder out of Old Town, from 1880s to 1950s.
Now, what's the material? I mean, we can see the outside, we can see the wood on the inside, but what's on the outside?
Okay, the outside is a wood hull, cedar ribs and cedar planking, and that's covered with canvas. And this is just painted canvas there.
It's painted canvas.
Painted canvas, and the canvas is you build the wood hull, and then you stretch the canvas over. And it's not glued to the wood hull at all. So it's just fastened underneath these rails. So the canvas and the wood can both move at different rates, and so the wood will expand and contract. And when the sun's out, it'll hit the canvas, and the canvas will expand and contract. So they both move
at the same time, at different rates.
Different rates, but yet they both give strength to each other.
Now, what kind of wood is it?
It's white cedar.
White cedar.
White cedar for the ribs and the planking on the inside. And most of the cedar comes from Louis' shop.
Louis Peltier's shop, the
Allagash Wood Products.
Wood products.
Yeah.
Really?
So I've been getting wood from him from a long time, just because I could get the quality I needed.
Yes.
In the length I needed. So that quality and length is very rare to get in white cedar. It used to be pretty common, but now it's extremely rare.
It's becoming
so it's worth it to me just to come up to Allagash just to get that cedar.
Now, when you get the cedar, do you get it in a certain length logs, or do you tell Louis I need?
Well, I tell Louis I need 16-foot clear white cedar, and he'll get me 8-foot and 10-foot and 12-foot. But of course, what I want is almost impossible to fit. But he gets me the best that he
can get.
And usually it's pretty darn good.
Louis has a reputation in this area of providing quality wood for people. I mean, he builds things himself and sells these, but certainly one of the products that he pushes out is lumber.
Yeah.
And he's got a very
unique shop.
Unique shop and a good reputation, providing a good quality product. And this is evidence of it. This is how much time goes into building a canoe?
Well, there's usually about 120 man hours or person hours.
Really?
Because there's a woman that works in my shop too, so it's person hours now. But it's kind of stretched over almost a 5 or 6 month period. because you never just start the canoe and go straight through, because there's a lot of drying times. You bend things and you have to let those dry, and you oil things and you got to let that dry, and then you paint and varnish, and each layer has to dry. And so usually that's really over like a 5 or 6 month period before it's all done.
And that's and the finish. Is there a special finish on the inside that you like to, cover your wood? I mean, preserve the wood.
It's on the inside of the wood. On the inside of the canoe, it's just a varnish.
It's a regular varnish.
Oil-based varnish, spar varnish, marine high gloss varnish, ultraviolet filters in it. And on the outside of the wood is linseed oil, and that helps preserve the wood and keep it flexible.
Now, you mentioned this particular model. Do you do different lengths?
Yeah.
Do you custom build it?
Oh yeah, it's all custom building. We build from 10 foot to 20 foot.
Really, 10 to 20 feet.
So, and they're all custom built. So I get orders from all over the country.
All over the country.
Well, all over the world, really. So we get orders from France or England. We sent one boat to Turkey. We sent a boat to Japan, Australia. Not a whole lot, but
sure.
once in a while. But most of it's throughout the United States. Probably about half of it is in New England, and then the rest is throughout the states.
So really, the biggest market is still in New England.
Yeah. New England, Pennsylvania.
Well, this is very nice. I mean, this is extremely nice work. I really want to thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I'm glad you came up to Northern Maine to get some wood from Louis as well.
When I learned canoeing by doing the Allagash back in the 60s.
Did you?
Up in Norton. And so I was, Boy Scout trips used to come up, and the Allagash was the first canoe trip, and then I worked on the staff, the Boy Scout staff, and the gammon, doing the Allagash trips, and so that really got me started in canoes and canoeing, and we were doing wooden. It was all wooden canoes back in the early '60s, so I just grew up with that and grew along with it.
It's really done well. I mean, this is beautiful, actually. But I really do appreciate it. And
Sure.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. I hope you enjoyed this.
Yeah, it's a great festival.
This great festival.
Oh yeah, it's a great time. It's like a beautiful day.
Couldn't have asked for better.
That's right.
Thank you again.
Sure.
And this is the Great Maine Lumberjack Show. All kinds of activities in this place. Axe throwing, log splitting, log sawing, and even a booth whether you have to walk on a log. Here's a demonstration on debarking trees.
Do you want? I think that's red would be green.
Different ways of doing it.
Together, and I don't. If you want a hot saw, you can hot saw. If you don't, I'll hot saw. Whatever you want to do. I don't know what.
And here we have the tank. Water in there with a log. Timberjack Tina is actually going to give us a demonstration. Her abilities of walking on logs. Very popular activity during the lumberjack days when they had to. During the log drives when they would go bring the logs down the river. Very stable, very good. Of course, this is in her bare feet. What's your name?
Nettie. Nettie?
Nettie?
Yeah.
And your last name?
Fox.
And what do you do?
I log roll.
You log roll?
Yeah.
Are we going to see you log roll?
Yes.
You going to try it?
Yes.
Show us how you do it. demonstration. Woo! Wow! Is the water cold?
Yes,
It is!
freezing.
It's freezing!
It came from the river.
It came from the river this morning.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So how long do you stay on the log?
I actually just started a year ago.
You did?
Yeah.
Is this fun?
Yeah.
Now do you have one of those at home, one of those tanks at home that you can practice on?
No. But we go to. I sprained my foot. I sprained my foot this spring, and so we went to the Bangor. We went to the Bangor YMCA, and Tim Bertina taught us there. But the first time that I ever log rolled was at one of her shows, like in the beginning of one of her shows.
Her show.
Yeah.
What's her name again?
Tim Bertina.
Tim Bertina. How do you spell your first name and last name?
Nettie.
Okay.
Fox.
Fox. And you're from where, T?
I'm from around Bangor. I'm from Orland, Maine.
Oh, are you in Orland?
Yeah.
Nice. And you came up here just for this? This is good. Are you having fun today? It's a nice day.
Yeah.
Nice and warm? Except
Yeah.
for the water.
It makes the water feel better.
Very good. Well, thank you very much. Really enjoyed. Are we going to see you again?
Yeah, probably.
You going to give it one more try?
Yeah, because there's a show at 11, which is the show going on right now, and then there's 2 other shows. And I'm going to do it for both. I'm going to do it for my dad and his partner because they don't like log rolling. They're bad at it.
They're bad at it?
Yes.
They can't stand it at all, huh?
No.
Is it possible they're too old?
No, I think that he's too heavy.
Oh, he's too heavy. Now,
Yes.
don't tell him that. You realize you're going to walk home.
Yeah, I know. But there's no one that can, where we learned it at the Bangor. My dad tried to log roll, but there wasn't another person who was at his weight mass, so he put the log up like that, and he always falls down.
Well, great. Well, thank you. So at 11 o'clock, you're going to do another show?
Yeah.
I'll see you then.
Okay.
As you can see, they're preparing for their 11 o'clock show. While others are all over, all sorts of vendors and other demonstrations. The Maine Fish and Game Department, the Allagash Wilderness Waterway, all here as part of the celebration of the 50th anniversary of the Allagash Wilderness Waterway. An awful warm day to be splitting wood. We're getting ready for the Lumberjack Show. Different activities all related to logging. Including log rolling.
And we have come here from the Great Maine Lumberjack Show in Trenton. Who here has ever been to the actual Great Maine Lumberjack Show in Trenton?
Need some volume.
I need volume. Is that better? A little louder. How's that? Oh man. All right, awesome. So, all right. So today, what we're going to do for you guys is we're going to put on an old performance of the lumberjack competitions you would have seen in a lumber camp all around these areas about 100 years ago. So as we know, the lumberjacks used to live out in the woods all winter long. The reason why the lumberjacks would do that is because when all the foliage would fall to the ground, you could see farther. So what the lumberjacks did, they lived out in the woods in like these homes they built out in the woods. So why they would do that is so when they chopped the trees to the ground, they could skid it out of the forest, and because all the ground, all the road, this mic's being weird. All the roads were frozen, so it's easier to take horse, buggy, whatever device you had back in the day, in order to drag all the logs out of the forest onto the frozen roads to the rivers, where then in the spring would come, all the rivers would melt and all the logs would go downstream, just like that down to the lumber mills. So then springtime would come and all the lumberjacks go back into town with a whole hotbed of money. So what they would do is they go to the saloons, they do all that kind of fun stuff after having that cabin fever for the entire winter. But then on a Sunday afternoon, they would get together and show off what they got. They'd have their annual lumberjack competition. So today what we're going to do, we're going to perform some of the actual competitions that they would have starting back in the day when everything was done by axes. One of the events we have today is the underhand chop. We're going to be using hot saws today, which is more of the more modern tools that lumberjacks use in the woods. Crosscut saws, doing some log rolling, and more. How's that sound, guys? Yeah! All right, awesome. So, before I get started, we got a couple sponsors we want to thank for having us out here. We came all the way, probably almost 5 hours last night. We got here about midnight. Set up this log filling tank at 7:30 this morning. Pumped the water. So this water is like fresh. Oh yeah, it might be, I don't know what's living in here. We'll find out later. Awesome. So, we want to thank the Maine Bureau of Parks and Public Lands, Allagash Waterways, North Maine Woods, Allagash Wilderness Waterway Foundation, Irving Woodlands, Landvest, Woodlands Holdings, Allagash Brewing Company. Oh, that sounds good. Who's running that? Is there a tent set up for that?
Dry town.
I'll wait. Okay, awesome. No, I'm serious. All right, so Frank Martin Sons, Parody Shop and Save, United Insurance, Daigle Oil Company, Boy Scout Troop 189. Are they here? Where are they at? They're probably back there, not listening to me. That's cool. The town of Allagash and our neighbors, Kay Parody and Bob Hayford, and all the volunteers throughout this community. So let's give them all a hand real quick before we get started. All right, so we'll get started right here. My name is Ethan. I'm one of the lumberjacks at the show down in Trenton. I am a Marine Corps veteran. I did 5 years in the Marine Corps. Hoorah! Now, thank you, Semper Fi. I got done with that this past November, and I'm attending college in Waterville at Thomas College for Law Enforcement Conservation. So those guys back there in that fancy uniform, give it like 3 years max. Y'all wait. That'd be me. All right, so I'm one of the lumberjacks at the show. Like I said, I'm an Iron Jack. So at the show site, we have 60-foot speed climbing poles that we go up and down, which is pretty a sight to see. We go up and down those in about 16 seconds, which is what we try to shoot for. So we have that. We also have the log rolling tank, but we have a whole bunch more. We have more lumberjacks, more wood chips fly. It's a fantastic event if you're ever in the Bar Harbor area, which I'd actually recommend staying away from because it's crazy. I live there. I live on Mount Desert Island my whole life, and it's crazy. But the lumberjack show is definitely worth coming out and see. Timbertina could not be in attendance today. I know y'all are probably hoping to get a chance to see her, but she can't be everywhere at once. She's doing another road show today in Guilford, then has to go back to Trenton tonight for her actual show at her show site. Timbertina can't be everywhere as much as she'd love to, but she's here in spirit. But so let's let the wood chips fly. So the first lumberjack we're gonna have out here, he is a student at Maine Maritime Academy. He just finished his first year as a freshman, and he just got done doing his 90-day cruise where they got all over the place. He went down to Florida, Texas, all over Europe. I couldn't even tell you all those. He went to Ireland. He's going to have to ask him himself. I don't know. He's too many to name. So let's give your hands welcome for Sam Smith. He's a pretty cool dude. All right. Our next lumberjack, his name is Tom Fox. He's a pretty cool dude. He's been working for Tina for a long time. He was there when the show was first built 21 years ago. So it's the 21st season of the Great Maine Lumberjack Show. And he's one of the original lumberjacks. So he comes out whenever he can, especially on road shows, coming up and showing off what we got. So let's give a warm hand for Tom Fox. Easy, ladies. Easy on him. Our next competitor, he is from Freedom, New York. Do we have anybody from New York? I didn't think so. But not way up here. So he was on Fox's American Grit, and he won the whole thing. Without John Cena stars that, but he's been all over the world. He's done hike the Appalachian Trail for speed, so he's done that in like 2 months, knocked that out. So he's a pretty cool guy, but his roots are here. He's been doing lumberjack timber sports for 8 years now. So let's give a great hand for Mark Boquin. All right, awesome. So the first event we're going to do today is the hot saw competition. So hot saws are not quite your ordinary chainsaw. These chainsaws are steel 046 magnums. So any ladies out there want to get a nice present for your husband? Get him one of these. You might not see him ever again. He'd be in the woods all day. You know, if y'all mind that, that's cool. But you want to get him one of these. So these are modified stock saws. So stock means we take it off the shelf. Modified means we obviously change it. So these chainsaws are a lot louder and a lot more powerful, so they'll cut through just about anything at a very fast rate. So what I'm going to ask you guys to do, if you got any kids, you know, you might even want to come use yourself. These are extremely loud tools. So what they're going to do is you're going to warm them up. I'm going to start them off and warm them up, all right? What'd you guys think of that? Hey, real quick, let's hear it for the hot saws real quick, all right? That's awesome. So, in this competition, what the lumberjacks are going to do is they're going to do one cut down and one cut up. Whoever does it the fastest will be our winner, okay? But we would usually do 3, but we didn't bring that much logs, so we're going to have to use this sparingly. So, all right, you guys ready? So what they're going to do is, and just like in any timber sport competition, they start with their hands on top of the logs, come down, start it up, and do their cut. So that is a part of the whole competition. Starting the chainsaw is a part of the competition. So, all right, guys, ready? Competitors ready? 3, 2, 1, go! Alright guys, give up the hot saw.
Who wants a cookie?
Who wants a cookie? Alright, we pass these out, that's awesome. Hey, less stuff we gotta bring back, right? Alright, so ladies, I'm serious. Yeah, guys, you like that? These things are sweet. Alright, so the next competition we have is the crosscut competition. So, crosscuts came to the United States around the 1700s and they completely changed the timber industry. Everything was done with axes. So, he's gonna, Tom is gonna show you guys this. This is a, like a tooth and raker saw. So, we'll try to hang it up to the side so you guys can see. There we go, much better. So, right here we got the teeth. We got the teeth right here, cutters, 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 cutters. And that side here, right here, is called the gullet. So, as the saw is going back and forth, the teeth are cutting because these teeth are going at different angles, and all the chips here, all the shavings, we call them noodles. Here's a good one right here. These noodles are caught inside the gullet right here. So when they pull the saw back, the actual chips get stuck inside that, and with gravity, they fall out. So, with that said, we're going to go ahead and set the teeth in the saw to about an inch or so. Alright guys, so I'm going to have you guys start the competition. So real quick, we're going to have a quick practice. We're going to count down from 3, 2, 1. You guys ready to practice? Ready, go!
3, 2, 1, 1.
Perfect. Alright, you guys ready? Alright, you guys are Alright guys, ready? 3,
2, 1, go!
Oh! There we go, just like that.
It was good for us, though.
Hey, Mark and I take that one, all right? Hey, let's give it up for the crosscut saws, guys. Those are incredible tools. They completely changed everything when those came around. All right, so next thing we're going to go into, cookies, free cookies. We're going to go into our axe throwing competition. So, axe throwing got it started in the lumber camps when the guys were just bored. They would take a piece of pine, nail it to a tree, throw axes at it. Just like anything else, you know, they get bored in the lumber camps, so this is what they would do. So, today we got competing. We're going to have all 4 of us throwing today. So we're going to keep it pretty simple for you guys. So the green is worth 1 point. White, 2, and 3. We're going to do 3 rounds. So the first round is going to be a practice round. So, you know, don't get all your hopes up for Sam here. I know Mr. MMA been on the boat too long. See if he has a sea leg. So we'll have Sam start. That's completely allowed. So that would be, since the leading edge is in the white, so that would be worth 2.
You don't want these guys to stick it, right?
Alright, so we're throwing from a distance of 20 feet away. That is proper for competition, and it's perfect because that's the way the axe rotates in the air. So rotate once in the air, and when the blade comes back around, it sticks at 20 feet. If you're like at 22 or 23, your handles are going to hit, it's not going to work. So that would be worth 3. Alright, so that's just a practice. Easy now. Easy, ladies. Easy on Mr. American Grid over here, Mr. John Cena. Alright, so we're going to start off in the first throwing round. Here goes Sam. That's worth 1. Not bad, Sam. Don't let Mark intimidate you, Mr. Hanging out with John Cena all day. Oh, yeah, see, we do that too. Alright, here comes Tom. There we go. That's worth 2.
Mark, you're right in the way.
Oh,
Look.
He's never in the way, he's just in the wrong place. You're still in the way. No, it's not.
ooh, is that touching? Ooh. Alright, that's worth 3. Alright, so we're going to go into our second round. Sam's going to start off. Bullseye. So that's 3 points for Sam. Nice throw. Good job, Sam.
Does that count?
Oh, there it is. I see that. All right, so that's worth 1.
It was me that was a bit of broken accident.
And that's a bullseye. There we go. All right. So on the third round, what we like to do is we like to go from low score to high score, not to call anybody out. So what do you guys got? Sam, what do you have for score? Sam has 5. Tom has 3. And Mark, what do you have?
10.
Tom.
I can't count, so wait. I had 6.
All right, so Tom has 4. And Tom has, that's 3. That's 7. Everyone give a hand up for Tom. All right, so Sam 5. And that's 2, so he is tied for first. Let's give Sam a hand, guys. Good job, Sam. All right, Mark. Oh! What's that, a 2? And what'd you have before that? It's 6, and that is 8. So Mark wins the axe, so he's giving it up for Mark, guys. Awesome. Alright, so a nice fun thing like we do down East Maine, we like to do a little bit of chainsaw carving. It's not quite a thing they did in lumber camps, but you know, it's an art in its own. So our artist today is going to be Sam. And Sam is pretty famous in down East Maine for his like wildlife. If you guys know what I mean? Thanks for shaking. You're down there in Castine having a good time. But today he's going to be carving, let's think. Sam, what do you feel like you're going to be carving today? You going to give the kids any hints?
No, you know, I think I'm going to keep it, I was going to plan on keeping it in secret. You know, I see quite a few kids here, so yeah, I'll give a few hints.
Okay, cool. Go ahead.
Well, we saw this little animal yesterday on our way up, you know, up 95. On Route 11, it was hopping on the side of the road, big floppy ears, bushy tail, buck teeth. Yeah, I think I heard
Who said it?
there. We'll see what I
Because
can
you
do.
said it, so yeah, all right, rabbit. All right, Sam, let's see what you can do.
Thank you.
Sam, I don't get it.
What do you mean?
Why'd you say thank you?
Well, that's what I say and I'm done.
Oh, what do you mean? You're not done, dude. What is this?
Well, this is the rabbit I told you I was gonna carve.
Where did you see a rabbit that looks like that?
You know, I told everyone. I saw it on our way up. You know, yesterday on the side of the road.
Oh my God.
You know,
What was he doing on the side of the road?
well, you know, I got thinking about that. I believe it was sleeping.
Why do you think it was sleeping, dude?
Because, you know, you were driving over there, you were kind of zoning out, and I don't know if you saw it, but you hit it with the front tire there, and it got a little tired.
Wow.
Tired?
Tired. Alright, so actually, you know what? Sam was just leveling off the top of his log, just getting good, even cut. So he's going to go ahead and do carve us a bunny, alright? Sam, I must say, when you said you wanted to do this, I was a little hesitant, but that's not bad, dude. Go ahead and show them.
Alright. You ready?
There we go. How's that look, guys? Let's give Sam a hand. Alright, so Sam, let me see what you got here. Bring it on over here. Alright, so you got little eyes, little nose, little bunny ear, nice big bunny smile, and some bunny buck teeth. Not bad, dude. Not bad. Yeah, I mean, but you know, Sam, I figured I had a little bit more detail in than that.
You know, we did talk about that. I think I'll put that in right now, actually.
But what in?
You know, you just said detail. I'll put it right here in the back. You know, actually.
What?
And there was actually one other cut that we were talking about on the way up. I don't remember it. It's, you know, one big eyebrow right across the front.
Okay.
The one that, you know, Mark's girlfriend had.
Oh, that's easy. You got access and a chainsaw. So this could be bad, folks. All right, so here's what Sam's gonna do. Sam's gonna try to cut, but he's gonna add a little tail on the back. All right, go ahead, Sam. Oh no! Get it. Oh no. Sam, what are you doing, dude? I can't believe you just did that. You kept talking about this new car. This is what you do. Sam, what just happened?
You know, man, I don't know.
Dude, you decapitated the rabbit.
No, I didn't decapitate the rabbit. I only irritated him a little.
Oh my goodness. All right, Sam, I need an explanation. You're the one running the shit, so what happened? What?
I'll be honest with you. It wasn't my fault. Nope. It wasn't my fault.
So who was all these mosquitoes? This is their fault?
No,
Did you get something in your eye?
I'll tell you who it was. You see this gentleman right here in the red shirt?
What do you have to do with it, dude?
Sir, is that your wife next to you? Is that your wife? I just want to let you know, she's been winking at me, blowing me kisses. She got me flustered up here.
You may not want to buy that hot. I'm just saying. Did she make you do it?
She's the one that made me do it.
Oh my goodness, Sam. You know what, Sam? All right. Couldn't concentrate. You know what, guys? I apologize for this. Our next event we're gonna do is the underhand chop. So go ahead and sit down and just figure out what the heck you did wrong. I'm not very impressed. Tina's not gonna be very happy. Sam, what is that thing you're sitting on?
The thing I'm sitting on?
Yeah.
You want me to show him?
Yeah, you know what? Go ahead and show that the little thing you're sitting on. No, Sam, what are you doing, dude? He's got this cabin fever or something. He slept in some cabin last night. I don't know what's wrong with him. Oh, wow. Got yourself a little hair chair. All right, guys. That seems a little bit too small for you, though. All right, so I think that's not going to fit you.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to find someone that might fit that.
I got a little guy back here in the orange, I think.
Oh, hey, buddy, come on up. Come on up, dude.
Try it out.
You got to come get it, buddy.
Try it out.
All right.
Here, I'm going to bring it back here more.
All right. Here, so our microphone actually works. Whoa. I don't know what they teach you guys here in Allagash. I don't know. Something in the river. You got to bring it on back. Come on back, buddy.
All right, sitting right there.
All right, hey, real quick. Hey, what's your name, buddy? What's your name? Oh, yeah. How do you know? What's your name, bud? Does anybody know whose child is this? Okay. Is your grandson? What's his name, sir? Jarrett. Jarrett, how old are you, bud? So you 18? You voting?
Your wife here? No? All right.
Who'd you come here with? Did you come here with you? Yeah. Okay, awesome. Is it okay if you take your chair home? Sure. That'd be $20. All right, we're just kidding. You know, hey, bud, you get to keep that from us. All right, how's that sound? He's smiling. All right, hey, let's give Sam a nice hand. The hair chair. How do you guys got that? All right, so the next event we got going on is the underhand chop. This is one of the most popular events at a lumberjack competition. It is done around the world. All right, so you'll see this at any sort of lumberjack competition you might see on TV or at the lumberjack show. We have 4 stanchions set up, so we got all 4 of us chopping. So what we have here is poplar wood. It is some of the best wood to chop because it just explodes when the axe hits it. So what we'll do is we'll secure it into our chopping stand. It's secured in 3 spots on one side. Got the 2 dogs here on the side and 1 underneath. So why we have it like that, but the other side is unsecured. So what happens is when the lumberjacks chop through, it's cracks and it'll fall off. So the timers and judges and all of you get to see when he's actually complete. So on top we have footholds. While we have those, you can't stand on top of a round log. You're just gonna fall off. You're not gonna be able to get any accuracy whatsoever. Then they get their racing axes. Go ahead and hold those up, boys. These axes right here are made usually in Germany, New Zealand, Australia, where wood chopping is famous. Each axe costs around, I would say, $400 to $700. I just bought a new axe and it's $450, and it's awesome. So, all right. So what the lumberjack's going to do? They're going to start with their best side facing you guys. All right, ladies, easy. You're in Allagash. So the best side facing forward. All right. So what they're going to do is they're going to chop through one half, turn around, and get the other. All right. So since we got 2 lumberjacks here, who's cheering for Tom over here? All right. Who's cheering for Mark over on this side? All right, guys. Ready? 3, 2, 1, chop. So you guys can see here, big, long, far swing. So they'll stick that axe way out and dig it in. We are not just chopping in a weird pattern. This is like running a symphony, if you would. It's a technique we have to do. What we'll do is we'll chop the top side, bottom side, turn, top side, bottom side. So it's 1, 2, turn, 3, 4, and the chips will just fall out. Let's go ahead and cheer them on, guys. Cheer them on. There we go. Just final thing on top side. You just did a top hit. Guy does another top hit and then a bottom, and those you guys just saw his chips just popped out just like that. All right, over here, Mark, same thing got going on. And Mark takes his turn. So bottom, then he's got turn, top, bottom, just like that. So those chips start flying out. Huge, long swings just like that. And just like that, Mark finishes first. Let's give Mark a hand. So the lumberjacks, before the crosscut saws even came about, this is how the lumberjacks used to cut the wood up into manageable sizes. They would stand on top of the log just like this and cut in a pattern similar to what you're seeing right here. So over time, they show up at the lumberjack camps in the spring, and they take a block just like this, and they just want to see who chops through it the fastest. It is very impressive. He takes huge swings. You guys can see those wood chips fly. So I don't know if you guys can see his routine. So he'll do a bottom hit, then he'll probably do a top, yep, just like that.
I think Tom got the butt log.
Okay, guys, let's cheer him on. Let's cheer him on. Almost through, and he's through. Awesome. Everyone, give him a hand. Awesome. Great job, guys. That is a very... I've got more wood cookies in case you guys want them. We have a chair, but it's gone. Alright, so, yeah, just like the underhand chop, when you come out and learn how to do this event, it is very... You cannot be afraid of getting... Let's see. This close to your toe with a razor-sharp axe. You cannot be afraid of it, just like the lumberjacks were a long time ago. But it is a very fun event. Over time, you just learn the technique, then you start getting faster and faster. The only thing we're thinking about is getting through this log as fast as we can. And it usually gets the most bragging rights at the show. Like, yeah, I got the better chop than you. And we're all like, no, okay. Alright, so, the last event we're going to do today is log rolling. Who here has ever log rolled? We're up in Allagash. I know some of you guys have. Who's ever log rolled before?
Raise your hands.
Raise none. All right, awesome. So we're gonna be here all day, just so you guys know. If any of you guys want to come out and try this, the youth of Allagash want to come out and try a log, we can do that today. So again, like I said before, the log rolling starts on the rivers here in Maine. So how log rolling actually really became more of a sport was they would take a log just like this. This is a Western red cedar, and it's got a little bit of carpet on it. Western red cedar comes from British Columbia, over way on the west coast up in Canada. It is the most buoyant wood available for log rolling. So it's always going to stay like this. So if this tank was to stay here all winter, that log might go down in maybe an inch, fill up with water. And it's awesome to log roll on. It just stays so buoyant and so balanced. So why would, I'm going to ask one of the kids this question. So why would, oh no, he's shaking his head.
We're not school yet.
Not yet. Oh, all right. So why do you guys think log rolling was such an important thing to have way back in the day? Anybody can answer this question. Why do you guys think log rolling was such an important thing in the lumber camps? Oh, you answer. Why is that?
Stay out of the water. Stay out of the water.
Well, that's an important one too. So what would that? Go ahead, Bud. All right, get your cross. Log fit. Awesome. So what would happen is the logs eventually, over time, going downriver, they would jam up. That was not good. We needed to get these logs out of lumber camps, down the river to the mills, get processed, get paid. That easy. So what happened is the logs would get jammed up in corners of the river. So what the lumberjacks would do, they would wear spikes on their feet and run out onto the logs and unjam them using a PV or any sort of tool, or maybe dynamite. They would use that too to get them unjammed, because these logs had to get down to the sawmills. So it was one of the most dangerous jobs on the river. So just like if you were to fall through ice, just same thing if you fall between some logs. If you go down, you may not come back up, so it's very important. So today's competition, I will be rolling. I'm not just showing off my legs to the ladies here. You know, I'm going to actually jump in the pool here with Sam. So 2 cardinal rules to log rolling. You cannot cross the center line, and you cannot fight your opponent, as much as you might want to. All right, so I'm going to hand the microphone over, and we'll get started, all right?
We got green versus red. Who wants green to win? Boo. Boo. Oh, red. Yeah, let's go red. There we go. Making it look easy. answer this one. Oh, it's a big boot of water. I guess that was okay.
Yeah, all right. So Sam takes the first one. Let's hear for Sam.
Sam got it. All right, my guy's coming back. He's got it, right?
I got it.
Who thinks he's going to get the next one?
No way.
Oh, come on. I think Sam's going down. Let's hear it for him, guys. Cheer for him. Yeah. Sam's gonna slip. You slipped everything. Whoa! That's awesome. All right. All right, it's tied up. One more. Let's see who can get it. Let's hear it for him. Woo! Come on. You can boost Sam though. Oh, stay up there. Stay up there. Good job, guys. That was close.
Let's give it up for Sam.
Yeah. Get nice and dry. Teammate for it on the top.
All right, guys. So that is going to conclude the 11 o'clock show, and we thank you very much for coming out here and seeing some of the stuff we do. If any of you guys have any questions after this, catch my breath. That's fun. All right. If you guys want to try the events, we can let you guys act so as much as you want. Don't throw it at any. Don't throw it at your siblings as much as they might want to, or family members. So, but we want to say thank you very much for the great Man Lumberjack show. Let's hear it for some of our competitors. Here's Sam, Mark, Tom. From all of us, all of you, a great big lumberjack. Yo! Thank you guys so much for coming. Enjoy the rest of your day.
So one of the activities here at this 50th anniversary of the Allagash Wilderness Waterway is a baked bean dinner tonight. All of these are all rolls. And of course, the kitchen crew, and they're decorating a nice cake.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. That's too many.
Now, Marilyn, how many people are you expecting to serve tonight?
Well, we cooked for 500.
You cooked for 500.
We cooked 40 pounds of beans.
40 pounds?
Yeah.
Did you cook them in the oven or the roasters?
We got the ovens full and the roasters. And we cooked 783 rolls.
783 rolls?
And we did 20 cakes.
20 cake, not that
20
size.
cakes. We got 4 big ones, but 20 cake
Really?
recipes. And 50 pounds of coleslaw.
So it's really an old-fashioned baked bean dinner.
It is. It is.
Excellent.
We're hoping.
Oh, you will. Well, you certainly have done well.
You think we will?
Oh, well, I know you will.
Oh, good.
If you don't, there's going to be an awful lot of leftovers.
Yeah, I think we're going left.
Well, enjoy. One other activity that's here at the 50th anniversary is a display of quilts. These are homemade quilts. And you can see they're extremely attractive. Some on the walls, some on the tables. And we have local crafters that are here. Look at those quilts. This is a sewing room. It's inside the Allagash, the old Allagash High School. Now it's a community center. And certainly one of the activities in Allagash is quilting. People are coming through and enjoying these quilts. Of course, it's nice and cool in here, and it's awful hot outside, and people are coming in just to stay cool. The Allagash Quilters. And these are more quilts. Handmade and here on display at the Allagash School, now community center. Very nice work.
Just about where Harry lives. Harry, you know where Doug McBride's house is now? No. Where do you guys live? Doug has a camp there.
Also on display during this 50th anniversary party is a bateau. This was used on the logging drives when they would take the wood that was cut during the winter and pile it along the river, and then with the spring high water would be driven down the river or floated down the river to the mills. These boats were used to carry men and supplies from the camps down to the river along the drive. This boat is some 24 feet long, and as you can see, was built to carry men and supplies down along the river. This boat has gone through a lot of fast water in the spring during the log drives. This boat was actually built by John Connors from St. Francis. The boat has a unique style. It's not a flat bottom boat, but when we look on the sides you can see how open it is, allowing the men who are setting out the booms along the river, they could actually be in the boat, kneel along the edge, and do the work on the booms. Now the booms were actually laid, especially in bends, to make sure that the logs didn't get stuck along the river. And then at the end of the season, when most of the logs had been brought down, you'd use the bateaus again to go through another type of bateau with a flat bottom, and they would go along the eddies and the coves, and any log that was along the edge, they'd push back into the river to make sure that it got to market. The Bateau by John Connors. Part of the Allagash Wilderness Waterway 50th anniversary celebration is a tour of the logging equipment at Michaud Farm, some 15 miles up the Allagash River. Michaud Farm was a large area of fields in which vegetables, oats, and hay were raised to supply the area's lumber camps. In the picture are visitors arriving to see the Michaud Farm equipment. This is one of the Lombard log haulers. Lombard is a company that made these vehicles. First, steam powered, and later on diesel. The log hauler was used to haul wood out of the woods. You'll notice that these were tires, rubber tires. These are not the original ones. Typically, they had skis on the front that would be used to go over snow. The log hauler was used primarily in wintertime. The log hauler had these tracks that would go over snow, ice, and with the skis at the front, instead of tires, would haul sledfuls of logs out of the woods. You can see by the back with a hitch. There might have been a dozen sleds or more being hauled by this log hauler. Now we're going to put the Lombard hauler to work. It actually starts. One skis at the front, used primarily in wintertime. Top speed, 3 miles an hour. Lombard log hauler. What they would actually do is make ice on the road in the wintertime. And these would just pull these lines of sleds filled with logs and haul it out of the woods. A Lombard log hauler.
Is that the only name?
No, there's more in the front.
This is another bateau that was used on the Allagash River. The workers would actually carve their names into the side of the boat as they were going down river.
Francis. Oh,
St. Francis Mead.
As you can see, Edgar Walker, 1935, actually carved his name into the side of this boat.
Would be attached. Are you on the same side of the road?
Here at Michaud Farm, we're being joined by a ranger.
Yes, Matt LaRoche.
Matt LaRoche. From where, Matt?
Greenville.
You're from Greenville.
Yep.
Are you stationed there?
No, I'm at Churchill Dam at the Waterway headquarters.
At the Waterway. And today you're here at Michaud Farm.
Oh, we are for the big 50th anniversary celebration.
Have you seen a lot of people come through today?
well, I've seen a lot of people come up to here to look at the Lombard, and there's been a few go down the river, but mostly here to look at the Lombard and the blacksmith and the bateau here. The bateau is very interesting, though. That is one of LaCroix's bateaux.
This was Mr. LaCroix, I believe, right?
Yes.
And he lumbered in really roughly what years? Do you remember?
He was in the 20s.
It's in the
1920s, right up through the Depression, and he was a big-time logger in that. I mean, this is one of his bateaux. It was called King LaCroix, and his center of logging activities was Churchill Dam. And Churchill Dam is kind of neat location because they could boat logs, 4-foot wood. They were supplying 4-foot pulp to the Great Northern Mills in Millinocket, East Millinocket, floating them up Eagle Lake, up to the tramway, putting them on the trains, bring them over to the Umbazookskus, which is West Branch waters, and then floating them down to the mills. And also LaCroix cut longwood logs and sent them down the river here to the mills in Van Buren and Madawaska, sawmills.
So he was actually using the southern route
and the northern route.
And the northern route.
And the northern
He was supplying 4-foot logs, 4-foot pulp, I'm assuming, and saw logs.
Right. So that was Churchill is the dividing point, right? Well, actually, the tramway is, but they could boat the logs up to the tramway and get them to point south.
Now the tramway. What was it? You mentioned the tramway. What is it?
Tramway is the best way to describe it. It's a mini railroad that they would use poles to push logs on these little trucks. They were about 2 feet apart, and they ran on a rail, took them from Eagle Lake, dumped them into Chamberlain Lake, and from there they would float those down the. That was about 1902 to, I can't remember the dates off the top of my head, but about 1910. It ran for about 7 or 8 years, and they actually drove those down the East Branch of the Penobscot down to Bangor. So we're talking, early 1900s.
Really?
Yeah.
So, but this is a bateau. This was a bateau, I'm assuming.
Used on the Allagash River.
It was used. Now, at what time of the year did they use this, or was it year-round?
Well, they use them somewhat year-round, but mostly the log drive in the spring.
The log drives.
Follow the drive, put men in the places that the logs would tend to jam up, just to keep the wood moving, and then there's always a bunch of men in bateaus to pick the logs that go on the ground here and there and push them back into the water and just keep them moving down the river.
Now, I mean, this is a fair-sized boat. What's roughly what length?
I think that's like a 26-footer.
26-footer.
Yeah.
And this was used to haul men.
This would transport the men to do the work of driving the wood. I mean, they use them for other purposes, but that's their primary purpose.
The primary purpose.
When the log drive started, the bateaus came out. The men got in the bateaus. Of course, it was a great deal, right? They knew that they're off for the when they get that wood to wherever it was going. They were done for the summer. They could go to their homes and do their farming and do all that work and come back in the winter to cut wood again.
So this is spring work.
This was spring work.
Spring work, a spring job, and it was before the planting seasons on the farm, so the men could actually come out and make a little money out in the woods.
Right. Well, I'm sure they were glad to go on the drive and get out of cutting trees down, right?
Right.
I mean, it had to have been a cold, wet job, though.
Oh.
We're talking when the ice went out would be end of April, 1st of May. I mean, but still, after cutting wood all winter, I imagine they were happy.
They were happy
getting those boats.
And they were on their way home.
On their way home.
And they were on their way
Follow
home.
the wood home, and if they lived in the St. John Valley, they were home when it was over.
Yes. So is there anything peculiar about this boat? The construction of it?
Well, actually, the ribs, if you will, are made out of tamarack, and they have to go find those ribs in the woods, and then shape them a little bit and put in so the grain of the wood follows the knee, and there's more strength that way.
There's just more strength on the rib itself.
Yes. Yeah. This one, you could tell this one here was a real work boat. It's all chewed up. It's all got marks in it from the boots with the spikes called caulk boots. And
that's what those are. Right in the side of the boards. You can actually see.
They'd be right up on the side, pushing with their poles, and it's been patched up. It's got remnants of a Maine Forest Service sign down there on the bottom where it says prevent. I'm sure it said prevent forest fires. They just patched her up and kept her going. And there was 2 of these in the barn at Churchill, and we actually took the 2 together and made this one good one. And it's really got some neat carvings of a lot of Allagash names.
Yes.
In the boat with the dates. And you got to figure those guys, when they went to work for LaCroix, they had to go up the river to work for LaCroix. There's no other way. I mean, otherwise it's like go all the way down around, come into Jackman.
Yeah.
In Helen Hamlin's book, she got there by going through Greenville, Maine, Jackman, come back up to Lake Lac Frontier and in the Churchill Dam Road. These guys, I'm sure didn't get there that way. They went up the river.
Well, they were the major roads. I mean, the rivers were the roads.
They were.
You know. Well, this is great, Matt. Thank you very much.
All right,
this
you're
is
welcome.
very good.
You're very welcome.
And congratulations on your on this turnout today. This is good.
It's good. It's good for the town. It's good for us.
It's good. It's good for everybody. Thank you.
What is this about? What is it?
Here we are at Michaud Farm. This is the Allagash River. Really starts at Churchill Dam and goes all the way to the town of Allagash, where it joins the St. John River. This is the famous river on the Allagash Wilderness Waterway. This whole area, this whole Michaud Farm area, was once an agricultural region. Now it's all grown up in trees. Nature has taken over. And what's left is the ranger camp here at Michaud Farm. We are back in the town of Allagash. The Allagash River, which started at Churchill Dam, has traveled 65 miles to its last stop where it joins the St. John River. Both rivers will continue and empty into the Atlantic Ocean. The Allagash River is more than a river. It is more than a means of transportation for logs and people. It is more than a recreational area. It is more than the stories and legends of the past. The Allagash River represents the best that Mother Nature has given us for our use, our enjoyment, and for our preservation.
My way into North Carolina, staring up the road, pray to God I see headlights. I made it down the coast, 17 hours, picking me a bouquet of dogwood flowers. Now I'm open Friday, I can see my baby tonight. So rock me, mama, like a wagon wheel. Rock me, mama, any way you feel. From the cold up in New England, was born to be a fiddler in an old-time string band. My baby plays the guitar, I pick the banjo now. Oh no, country winters keep forgetting. I lost my money playing poker, so I had to up and leave. But I ain't turning back, living that old life no more. So rock me, mama, like a wagon wheel. Rock me, mama, anyway. caught a trucker rider feeling had a nice long smoke. Me either headed west from the Cumberland Gap to Johnson City, Tennessee, and I gotta get a move on before the sun. I hear my baby calling my name, and I know that she's the only one. If I die a Riley, at least I will die free. So rock me, mama, like a wagon wheel. Rock me, mama, any way you feel. Hey, mama, rock me. Rock me, mama, like the wind and the rain. Rock me, mama, like a southbound train. Hey, mama, rock me.
Thank you everybody for coming to help us celebrate 50 years of conservation of the Allagash Wilderness Waterway. And thank you. I want to acknowledge the staff that cooked the supper tonight right over here, and they did an awesome job. If they give them a hand, that'd be great. Thank you, ladies. You can be counted on in the town of Allagash to put on a good meal. I'd also like to thank the town of Allagash for hosting this event. It was a great collaborative effort, and we thank you for that. And we had quite a bit of sponsorship for the events that went on here today, and I'm going to read some of those that donated quite a bit, which would be Clayton Lake Woodland Holdings, Irving Woodlands, Allagash Brewing Company, Friends of Maine State Parks, Allagash Wilderness Waterway Foundation, and Landvest. So those of you that don't know me, I'm Matt LaRoche. I'm the superintendent of the waterway. That's my cheering section over there in the gray shirts. So we'd like to thank you for coming. If nobody came to the event, it wouldn't be much of an event now, would it? I do have a congressional record that I would like to read to you folks. And here it is. Mr. President, today I wish to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the Allagash Wilderness Waterway in northern Maine. This 90 miles to stretch of lake shores and rivers is a shining example of the dedication of the people of Maine to protect and preserve the natural beauty and heritage that define our great state. For thousands of years, the Allagash was the hunting and fishing grounds of the Wabanaki, and the river's northerly flow provided an important transportation link between the Maine coast and the St. John River. The waterway's Native American heritage is found in such place names as Amzaskus Lake and Musquecook Stream. In 1857, Henry David Thoreau explored the upper reaches of the Allagash during his third trip to Maine and learned from his Penobscot guide that the river's name referred to a useful bark that could be harvested from the vast forest along its banks. In the years that followed, the Allagash became a vital part of the Maine's timber industry. While hiking through the region's remote wilderness, it is possible to come upon abandoned steam locomotives deep among the trees and remnants of the vast lumbering operations of the early 20th century. As the Allagash, rich with fish and wildlife, became a favorite destination for outdoor enthusiasts from around the world, the surrounding woodlands have remained very much a part of Maine's working forest economy. In 1966, the people of Maine recognized the special qualities of the Allagash and voted to protect it by approving a $1.5 million bond issue to develop the maximum wilderness character of the river. And the Maine legislature established the Allagash Wilderness Waterway. 2 years later, Maine Senator Edmund Muskie authored an amendment to the National Wild and Scenic Rivers Act of 1968 that combined permanent federal protection with permanent state administration. In 1970, the Allagash Wilderness Waterway was granted federal designation as a wild river, becoming the first state-administered component of the National Wild and Scenic River System. The Allagash Wilderness Waterway captures the essence of the Great North Woods. This 50th anniversary is a time to celebrate the commitment to safeguard for future generations to come this special place that captures the essence of the people of Maine. Congratulations on the 50th anniversary of the magnificent Allagash Wilderness Waterway, signed Senator Susan Collins. Our first speaker is the Commissioner of the Department of Agriculture, Conservation and Forestry, Walter Whitcomb.
Good afternoon. I have to stand on my toes here, Matt, and you had to stoop down, so there's a character difference. It's my great pleasure to join you today, this afternoon, in this wonderful day at this wonderful celebration. As was just mentioned in the Federal Register that Matt read from, the part that I represent is the state administration of this National Scenic Waterway, and it's my great pleasure to work with the staff, the Allagash Waterway staff, that works with you in this community to take care of this place and to help others enjoy it as well and protect it for future generations. As you've already heard, and Representative Martin will go into more detail since he's lived the entire history of this waterway and helped it happen, that began in 1966. It was initially placed under the jurisdiction of the state park system, and in many moves since has stayed right there. And we are very proud as an agency to have this as the kind of crown jewel, not only in its location, but in its administration and what it does of the state park system. You've also already heard, and Representative Martin will go into more detail because he helped it happen, that this received federal funding in a unique way and in a program that is still administered by the folks in our department, that is essentially money from a fund that represents across the country. And so this is was a very significant investment nationally, and it was a very significant investment by the people of Maine, and well worth that. The mechanical side, which you folks understand far better than I, as someone who more recently joined the administration of this park, is handled by some professionals who love this waterway as much as you do. There are 16 staff people that work on the Allagash Waterway. Many of those part-time in doing that come back year and year again to help you and the others enjoy that waterway. And we, as a people, as a state of Maine, are indebted to their service. My specific role today was to be a part, and Matt had assignments, as many of you know, and mine was to thank the many partners that join us in the management of the outer boundaries of the waterway, the timber companies that on their land help to make it a wild and scenic experience. And so specifically, I would like to thank Irving Woodlands, Landvest, Seven Islands Land Company, Orion Timberlands, Katahdin Forest Management, Furnace and Carlisle, and of course, the public reserve lands that all of us own are a part of that system as well. Were it not for their cooperation, the experience would be far different than what all of us enjoy that travel the waterway. And John, my first chance to be on the waterway was today as I paddled a few miles down it. As you look at an anniversary of this type on a land that's protected for future use, you can think of it as 50 years young or 50 years old. I prefer to think of it as 50 years young. All of us have a partnership to think about where it is we want the next group that celebrates this to find our resource. It is unique in our park system. It may be unique in the country. It's to use it and not overuse it, to think about what future generations will want and how to get them to experience it. We all look at the changing of patterns of where we live, what we do, and to make this a timeless experience, we don't want to change it too much, but we also need to evolve to make it an experience that many others will enjoy. And that's the constant pressure that we feel, those of us who administer public resources. On behalf, again, of our department in this administration, we thank you as a community for being a part of this effort and probably one of the most important partners. And I wish you a good evening. It sounds like we got a great start from the musical introduction, and thank you for the opportunity to be here.
Well, thank you, Walt. I remember the first time I met him, he said, "We're committed to funding the Allagash." Well, that's awesome. And the next speaker we have is the longtime supporter of the Allagash. It's the Honorable John Martin.
Thanks, Matt. And I agree, Commissioner. He is too tall. I'm pleased to be here, and I do want to begin you know, politicians always say, remember that if we talk too long, you'll never get to the food. Tonight, if we talk too long, you'll never get to the music. There is a difference between the two. So I want to tell you, really want to thank everyone who participated in putting this together, and also the staff that I've dealt with all these years in the Waterway. And thank you for all the help that you provide to those of us who use the Waterway. I will say that with the exception of 1968, when I was working for Senator Muskie, we ran for vice president. Since 1964, I've done all or part of the Waterway. And so, Commissioner, we expect you next year to come back and do the entire length of the Waterway. And we'll see if we can drop off things along the way to make your trip comfortable. So I thought what I would do tonight, and so I brought with me the report, and I promise I will not read it or parts of it, but it is the report that the legislature created which led to the creation of the Waterway. And ironically, and probably you can figure out why, I am the surviving member of the committee that was appointed in 1966 on that committee. And it was, of course, a person you would remember, Elmer Violet from Van Buren, then a senator, was the Senate chair of that committee, and I was a member of that committee when we did the study and then the report to the legislature. And then, as we move forward, then the question was, how do we deal with the feds? And that's where Senator Muskie came into play, and I do want to take this effort to recognize Don Nickel, who's in the audience, who is Chief of Staff of Senator Muskie, who basically was the person who was the go-between with the Secretary Udall and the staff in Interior. And then we got the money, and then we went to the voters. And we got the $1.5 million, which created the $3 million that was then used to purchase the land. And I look back at the effort, and you know, there were some skeptical people because they said this is the first state-operated park that is being created under federal law. And even the feds will tell you that this is one of the better ones out there in that system. And that's thanks to the department and the commissioners here representing the department, and to the staff of the Waterway, and to Matt and those of you that work for the Waterway. And I can assure you, for those of you, a show of hands, how many of you have ever been on or part of the Waterway? There's your answer. And so, to all of you and to us, I agree that the next 50 years, I probably won't make the next 50, but I made the first 50. And I can tell you it's been a great experience. So thank you, and just remember, if you want to go back and read the report, you can get it online from the State Library. And it's worth reading as you see how and what we went through in getting to that effort. And it wasn't easy because we had some opposition, and the opposition came primarily from the landowners who did not want to let go of part of the Waterway. They were willing to let us use it, but they wanted ownership, and we wanted ownership, and then we'd let them use it. And that's how it now has evolved. And so, thank you, and thank you for coming, and we need to go to the next stage. And so, Matt, it's all yours.
Thank you, John, for that history lesson. Awesome. Our next speaker is, our third speaker rather, is former state senator and a hometown favorite, the Honorable Troy Jackson. The other one, Troy.
Well, thank you, everyone. I am really honored to be here tonight. First off, I want to again thank Marilyn, Carolyn, Helen, Kathy, and Sue for the great job that they did on supper. They wanted to make sure that you know that they have buns and cake still available, so I'm doing my advertising part. You know, I think about the Allagash and how glad I am that I'm from here, had the opportunity to be on it, that the Waterway has been protected. You know, it's probably not a secret that you know, life is not always easy here in northern Maine, and You know, a lot of people have left here to find work or raise a family in other parts of the state. And it's great to see people back today. I think we got probably twice as many people that are in the town now. It kind of feels a lot like Thanksgiving, that feeling of, you know, you're around family. And so for me, Thanksgiving's always been my favorite holiday, so I'm really glad and feel a real sense of pride to be here in Allagash with all of you today. And that's part of what the Waterway really means to me, is family. All the different trips, being on the water with my grandparents, with my mother and father, today with my kids. You know, the fact that the Waterway has been protected for 50 years has made sure that I, along with all of you, have had those memories and continue to have those memories. There's been nothing probably that makes my heart race more than having the memory of waking up at Allagash Falls, motoring up with Grandfather Bob. Those things are what it is to live and be from Allagash. And that's why I'm so honored to be here today. So thank you for allowing me at times to make sure that we continue to have that access to Allagash. Thank you for everything you've done for myself. Thank you for letting me be here today. And I definitely want to thank you know, the people that have been keeping the Allagash Waterway as pristine and protected as it is. They've done a great job. And I think with that, I'd like to introduce my son, Chase Jackson.
Well, hey everyone, I put some words together this evening to try to talk about Allagash history and culture and its significance in relation to the Allagash River. And so if you don't mind, I'm going to read off my paper here, but I'll start out by saying too that, you know, I don't mean to speak for the community, but as a focus story, and I try to take what I see as the facts and synthesize it and put it into a way that tells our story and tells who we are. And for my townsfolk, I hope that you like the way I've represented that for us tonight. There is but one community that rests along the Allagash, and it lies where that river meets the one we call the St. John. This community, now nearly 2 centuries old, represents both the largest and the last example of what it is like to conduct a life where this storied river cuts its way through glacial till and mixed forest. History, geology, geography, politics, economics, and linguistics have all collided here, so that to be of this community is to exemplify and exhibit its unique culture. It is a town with a unique culture and people, but it is really more accurate and more prudent to consider it a culture and people that just so happen to exist within one town. This land bears one simple name, and its people assign their identities and reference the river they are centered on. That simple word is Allagash, and the Allagash people carry with them a former pejorative they have long since seized and claimed as their own, an ethnonym that is invisibly tattooed on their being and recognized as the word Moosetowner. I am a Moosetowner, and because I am, the Allagash River courses through me as it courses through all Moosetowners. I was told as a child that the story of Allagash began with 3 sisters bearing the surname Diamond and their journey with husbands and children from Campbellton, New Brunswick to Gardner Island in the mouth of the Allagash. But I could also advance to you that the story of Allagash began in the 1640s with the competing ambition of Oliver Cromwell's Puritans and King Charles I of England's complacency. A conflict which exploded into the English Civil War before it enveloped all of the British Isles in a war of 3 kingdoms. This coming violence led John Diamond and his wife Grace Salmon to flee Plymouth, Devonshire, in the southwest of England with their 3 small children, her pregnant with 1 more, and make their way to Massachusetts only months before Plymouth turned into the epicenter of the Civil War's power struggle. John McKenney, a Scottish Highland soldier and ancestor of Allagash's Haffords, was captured by Cromwell's army 8 years later at the Battle of Dunbar before he was forced to march to London, put on a prison ship, and sold into indentured servitude in New Hampshire, where he was most likely forced to cut wood that fed the Saugus Iron Works in Massachusetts. A similar fate appears to have befallen another Scot named Walter Jackson, my apparent paternal ancestor, when he was captured by Cromwell's army in 1651 at the Battle of Worcester, and also sold into the slavery of North American lumbering, an ironic facet that is perhaps the first of Allagash's logging heritage.
The story of Allagash may also arise among a series of events that followed the 1746 Battle of Culloden outside of Inverness, Scotland, and the failure of the Scottish Jacobites to usurp the Hanoverian line of kings, a defeat that resulted in the destruction of the Gaelic Highland way of life and slowly played out into a genocide known as the Highland Clearances. It may well be through that sad series of events that many of the mysterious surnames in Allagash lineage, such as McKinnon, Moore, Highland, and even McBride, made their way to us. The story of Allagash could also be viewed as beginning with the settlement of North America by French adventurers whose industrious agricultural lifestyles are a part of our tale, though Quebecois names like Castoni and Acadian names like Thibodeau have since been subsumed by an Allagash culture that is evidently Celtic and apparent on the tongues of our pelletiers, the descendants of Champlain's ship's pilots. Perhaps the story of Allagash began in the wake of the American Revolution, when the Diamonds and other loyalists were expelled from Boston by the zealous Yankees and given refuge in the Bay of Chaleur. There they would have been unwelcome outsiders suddenly thrust upon the land with little money and even less hope, not so unfamiliar to us in our concept of modern war refugees. For certain, they would have been viewed with disdain, and what we know of their tight-knit interactions and living arrangements suggests that they banded together as outsiders amid that scorn. Could the story of Allagash begin with the cholera, the poverty, and the destitution of early 1800s rural Ireland that appears to have driven the O'Learys, Hugheses, Mullins, and many others to eastern Canada? Indeed, had they not risked that long, cruel journey across the cold and unforgiving Atlantic Ocean, many of their children would have perished in an event that we know as the Irish potato famine, but I prefer to call Angorta Mór, the Great Hunger, as it was called in their ancient language. I'm sorry if I've bored you with history, but what I'm telling you is that the story of Allagash is one of generation after generation of marginalized, scared, and hopeless families who were on the run until they all in their own time made their way to this home that they could finally be safe in, a home that would finally be theirs. The story of Allagash begins with these parents, these soldiers, these slaves, these farmers, these sailors, these rugged individualists, often the children of Europe's Celtic fringe, and their eventual meeting, merger, and melody right here in Allagash. They sowed the seeds of a people who now may number less than 1,000 scattered across the world, but universally feel a loyalty, pride, and inherent connection to this land whose intricacies we know, whose accents we bear. The importance of the rivers of the Allagash Highlands on the development of this unique people, their shared history here, their humor, their values and way of life cannot be undermined. The river brought them here. The rivers provided the fertile lowland flats in which they built their houses and planted their gardens. The rivers beckoned them to enter further into this roadless, unknown, mysterious land, the East's last frontier. It was the rivers that allowed them to partake in the lumbering economy so that they might have income to supplement a subsistence lifestyle here at the northern reach of the ancient Appalachian Chains hills. In time, the people who became the Moose Towners would become masters of these rivers, Allagash, St. John, and Little Black, so that their footing upon it would be legendary by those who knew of them. What importance a road has to allow you to exist and conduct every single facet of your life, the rivers had to the early Moose Towners. That is how they came to love them and cherish them, an enchantment which continues today. I have been asked before to explain the Moose Towners' love of Allagash and what that feels like. What makes it different from a visitor's self-professed infatuation? The closest thing I could compare it to is that the way you love your parents. And put that way, you might understand how loving this land and its rivers in the way the Moose Towners do cannot be achieved by anyone else. Perhaps the Moose Towners can look to their Scot and Irish ancestors to understand their shared egalitarian history, how it produced this love. And I'd be interested if anybody here, if this meant as much to you as it did to me when I read it. The historian Michael Fry once wrote, "Gaelic society preserved immemorial forms. It has become customary to describe it as organized in clans from the Gaelic word clan, which means children. The conventional view is that a clan consisted of people sprung from a common ancestry who held a certain territory. Kinship gave its members a feeling of equality, especially in connection with its land, which they held to be a communal resource." That statement feels descriptively familiar to me, and I think it could inform us in our thinking of how the Allagash relates to the Allagash River, the Allagash region, and the 50th anniversary of an entity we call the Allagash Wilderness Waterway. One that, I might point out, is less than 1/3 the age of the Moose Towners' history here. We are speaking of history, and when we speak of history, we must always speak of reality, because otherwise we are speaking only of mythology. And unfortunately, history provides us with too many examples of mythology leading an ill-informed charge into the future. So let us not gloss over realities that shouldn't be forgotten. Among them is that early on, the AWW sometimes had a heavy-handed approach to Allagash's culture and originally exerted that there were a lot of places of historical and cultural significance that were deliberately destroyed. And let us not forget that when we honor Senator Muskie and quotes about preserving the Allagash, that in that same period of time, he was also leading the charge to build the Dickey Lincoln School Lakes hydroelectric dam and inundate the St. John. So please understand the offense in that when one considers this land as a parent to the people of Allagash, and if the St. John is its spine, then the Allagash is its legs, and the Little Black River is its arms. Conversely, I must admit that we have not always been great caretakers of the river without our own fault. It is good we live in an era where regular trash heaps no longer line the river and dynamite and plows no longer seek to straighten it for the transportation of lumber. What threatens our river today, if we're being honest with each other, if we're really being honest with each other, are very hard cutting practices. And we all have different feelings about that. But I think that my mentor, John Connors, summed it up best when he said that when the Moose Towners first come to Allagash, they said, "Look at the awful forest." And now the Moose Towners in Allagash say, "Boy, the forest looks awful." This quandary has led to the browning of our blue waters as our hills and mountains faces wash down their own slopes into the river valleys, victims of far too much erosion. And our rivers are not as healthy as they could be. Their beds filled with silt, the channels filled with silt, the water warms up and it kills the trout more than Muskie ever will. So let us work together in the future. When we celebrate 100 years of the Allagash Wilderness Waterway, and I'm 75 years old, I would hope to speak to you again. I would hope to speak about how we made the Allagash River cleaner, healthier, and more beautiful than we already believe it to be. I would hope to speak of how the history and significance of my people here has been maximized and celebrated in every way possible rather than discouraged, forgotten, and lost. And I would hope that what we do together achieves a model through which we can solve the issues that define bitter land use tensions across Maine. If you believe the Allagash River to be unlike any other, if you believe the Allagash River to bear banks more beautiful than any other, if you believe the Allagash River to course with water more holy than any other, then surely you can believe the Moose Towners, a people nourished by its waters and alluvial soils for nearly 2 centuries now, are a special people too. I hope we will be here for a long time in this home we have finally found. I hope you will make each and every journey to this river one where you try to dig a little deeper and a little closer to the beauty of who we, the Allagash people, are. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Chase. We're going to bring you the Fiddleheads Band next, and we got a special treat between song number 3 and number 6. I'll leave it at that. So, Fiddleheads Band, the finest band in Aroostook County.
What a beautiful crowd out tonight. Beautiful evening tonight. Can't ask for much better than this. And the good Lord was looking down on us. Never would have hitchhiked to Birmingham if it hadn't been for love. Never would have caught the train to Louisiana if it hadn't been for love. Never would have run through the blinding rain without $1 to my name if it hadn't been for love. Never would have seen the trouble that I'm in if it hadn't been for love. Would have been gone like a wayward wind if it hadn't been for love. Never would have loaded up a 44, put myself behind the jailhouse door if it hadn't been stove. If it hadn't been for love. Four cold walls against my will. At least I know she's lying still. Four cold walls without the road. Lord have mercy on my soul. Never would have hitchhiked to Birmingham if it hadn't been for love. Never would have caught the train to Louisiana if it hadn't been for love. Never would have run through the blinding rain with that $1 to my name if it hadn't been for love. If it hadn't been for love. If it hadn't been for love. Thank you. I'm going to do a drawing for the Allagash quilters. Made a beautiful, beautiful quilt for the Allagash Waterway, and they sold tickets, and we're gonna have a drawing right now. What's the winning ticket worth? The winner is Clayton McBriarty. Is the recipient of that wonderful quilt made. I don't think you'll be needing it tonight, but who knows? One called Midnight in Montana. Well, it's midnight in Montana, and the moon's getting high, and I don't know what I'm doing alone, but I know somehow I get by. My uncle sat me down last night and gave me some damn good advice. He said, son, do what you can with what you got now, don't you think wise. It'll be a long, hard road, but you can't get nowhere as you go. Well, that river in the mountains, well, it cools my blood on down, and like the river, I'm a-wondering, but I don't know where I'll settle down. My uncle sat me down last night and gave me some damn good advice. He said, son, do what you can with what you got now, and don't you think twice. It'll be a long, hard road, but you can't get nowhere as you go. Well, it's daybreak in Montana, and the sun's coming around, and I don't know what I'm doing low, but I know somehow I'll be found. My uncle sat me down last night and gave me some said, son, do what you can with what you got now, but don't you think twice. It'll be a long, hard road, but you can't get nowhere as you go. Last night and gave me some damn good advice. He said, son, do what you can with what you got now, but don't you think twice. It'll be a long, hard road, but you can't get nowhere as you go. No, you can't get nowhere unless you go. Thank you.